Hey guys, very exciting episode of Finn vs. History. We have our first ever female guest.
Which must be very scary for a lot of our listeners at home.
A lot of our viewers, listeners, that this will be very intimidating. They won't know how to talk to women, but we've obviously been around women a lot.
Very much, very experienced.
We know how to do it, and so we hope that before we start the episode, we just wanted to say we hope you can get something more from this.
Learn how to have a conversation with a woman.
How to talk to women.
Yeah. So we are joined by the fabulous, brilliant Bebe Cave.
Bebe, what are we here to talk to us today about?
Hi guys, thank you so much for having me on. Historic day for you and for me. And I'm going to be talking to you today about medieval women.
Oh, wow.
The lives of some really visionary women who rebelled. These women really decided to take a non-traditional path.
Sorry, it's really
At that time in history, it would have been about, marriage.
It's so interesting to have a
Society
woman on the show.
I really enjoy the different
families.
perspective.
These women only had
What did the women
very
smell
few
like?
options. I think that they
This is
probably
what
would
a
have
feminist looks
smelled
like.
of,
This is what a feminist looks like.
some kind of a spiced ale.
This feels wrong. I'm
We have
married.
the capability to be leaders,
I'm married.
religious leaders, spiritual leaders.
I've always said that. I've always said that.
I think you should be the Pope.
Yeah. I'd vote for you.
I'd vote for you.
I'd vote for
So, are you guys okay?
Yeah, we're fine. It's quite hot in here.
It's
Are you
hot.
guys okay? Is it? It's hot, but this seems excessive, no?
This is fucking hot.
Fucking hot.
Tissue
Fucking
or-
hot.
Anyway, she's got a book.
She's got a book out.
She's
She's
got a book up her fanny.
Welcome back to Finn vs. History. I'm joined by Horatio Gould, and for the first time, the Citadel Has Fallen.
They've got inside.
They've got inside. They're breeding.
Retreat to the keep.
Run away. I hope you're sitting down. We have a woman guest, a live one, the brilliant Bebe Cave.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure.
What a treat.
What a treat, Bebe. I saw your last show. I guess you're doing one woman historical sort of stand-up comedy almost,
But good.
But it sounds bad. But I have to say,
I admit every word in that doesn't sound good.
No, together it sounds like a super poo.
Woman.
Historical.
I mean, I was going to say I'm a polymath, like
You're in a polycule.
like
We're in a
Hildegard of
polycule.
Bingen or something.
Like a what?
A polymath.
Hildegard of Bingen was a medieval
You
polymath.
just throwing that out like I give a fucking Hildegard of Bingen.
That's what you asked me to come on and talk about
Hildegard
today.
We'll
of
be talking
Bigfoot.
about more medieval women, but I wanted to say for a
Hilda Bitch
start,
of Big
I saw
Bum.
your last show. So you're doing a medieval woman.
I'm doing a medieval woman show this year.
But I saw your last show,
the
which
Screen
is
Test.
Golden Age of Hollywood stuff.
Yes.
And I have to say, and this is the biggest compliment I can ever pay, your accent work really puts me
Because
to shame.
you're an amateur linguist.
I'm an amateur linguist. I'm a culture analyst, ethnographer, phrenologist,
Yeah.
etc. But your
racist accents.
your
are
racist
amazing.
accents are top notch.
Thank
And he's
you.
giving that compliment to a woman. He hates to do that.
No, listen, it's very off-brand for me to say this.
I really
but I was
appreciate
blown. My wife's racist accents are even worse than mine. We were blown away by your racist accents.
Yeah, women could do it too. It's the Jamaican bobsleigh
Women can
team.
do it better. It
Is it?
turns
Yeah.
out you can get away with it more.
I think that I think the reason why I set it during the 1930s was because any kind of
morally, it's my favourite decade. I must say.
I know that. I know that for sure. But I feel like you can get away with a lot of stuff if you put it in a very jaunty sort of a time frame and
Well, they got away with a lot of
context.
stuff in the 30s.
They go famously.
And I think that I played with a lot of sort of ideas about sort of sexist and I don't know, strange,
sexism
bigoted
here.
views.
Yeah.
But
That's a
in the
big no.
context of the time, you're making a sort of a cultural statement about what that era would
Baby,
have
you
been like.
don't have to justify it to this extent. The
Yeah.
accents,
I
the
know,
accents,
not on this
Phoebe,
one.
the
just
accents
fucking
on their
hoof.
own.
This is a hoof pod.
The
You don't need
accents
to
on their
explain
own were
anything.
entirely enjoyable. We weren't enjoying it on that level.
Yeah.
We were just going, that's a very funny accent.
Yeah. Okay, fine. No, I
It's a
really
very
appreciated
simple
that,
theatre
though.
goer, Finn.
I really appreciate it. Did you actually like the show?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
thank
And I'm excited for this
Chris
one.
fishing for compliments.
Because
Thank
you're now doing a medieval woman show, and this is medieval ladies' night on the pod.
Yeah, this is ladies' night, isn't it? It's bottomless brunch. Get that woman who fell down the back of the sofa. This is.
Do you think that your listeners will enjoy this topic?
I think some will be very angry that you're on the show.
Some will be.
There will be quite a lot.
cancelling their patrons. As
There will
we
be a
speak.
lot of sexist comments.
Yes.
Get the
No,
bird
cool.
off.
Yeah.
What's that? Harry and Paul sketch. When's the bird? Get the. Where's the bloke?
There'll be a lot of this. People, our
Look at
viewers.
this. Sorry, look. This is us three. This is us three.
Yeah.
Hold up. This is us three.
70s Man City hero, Rodney Bowles. Hello, guys.
Where's your bloke?
Where's your bloke, darling?
Where's your bloke?
Honestly, it's only me.
No, don't be silly, darling. Where's the bloke?
Where's the bloke, darling? Where's the bloke? It's half time.
Yeah. So that's that's what.
This is the energy of this episode.
That's the energy of
Where's
this
the bloke, love? Where's the bloke, darling?
I mean, I think that's actually very timely, for what we're going to talk about, even.
Yeah.
Really, if you
Well,
think
where's
about
the
it.
bloke?
Where's the
Yeah,
bloke?
where's the
Because
bloke?
it's a history.
That's what they'll be saying.
Yeah, where's the bloke?
Well, because we talk about history and it's not about bloke.
Yeah.
And everyone's be like, "Where's the bloke?"
Which,
in
But
this?
it is his story,
which
isn't
is
it?
Yeah.
yes, it is, and we did Herstory in the last
We did
episode,
Herstory
so
and
we've
we-
done that now.
It was very quick. It was 5
Tick.
minutes. We did a
Who-
vine.
Yeah.
Who's your favourite female historical figure then?
Oof, fucking hell, tallest dwarf.
Ava Brown. Probably have to say Ava Brown.
Who's your favourite female historical
It's funny
figure?
actually. Somebody was telling me about Eva Braun yesterday. Oh, there was something about Hitler was really romantically, sexually attracted to women who wanted to kill themselves. Like apparently, all of his lovers,
He liked goth
he
baddies.
was drawn to women that would threaten to kill themselves. Every time
Really?
that Eva Braun would threaten to kill herself because he wasn't paying her enough attention, that's when he would be most.
We had a
into
lot
her.
of things going on.
I mean, he did have a lot of things going on. He had a lot of things
Has
on his
anyone
plate.
ever had more going on
no,
than Hitler?
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, we're on to talk about medieval women.
Medieval women.
And firstly,
In the way of your new show called
And the way
Christ
my
Bride,
notion, which is called Christ Bride.
Yeah.
Christ Bride.
which is about an uppity woman who makes up she can see visions.
well, no, she's doing a show at the end of
Right,
the
oh,
festival.
sorry. Yeah.
It's an uppity woman who's doing a show at the end of the
To be
festival.
honest, so after I worked on my last show, the Screen Test, which is all about Golden Age Hollywood, and it was basically just about actresses. I'm an actress, at some points failed actress, at some points working actress, but always mental actress. And then after I worked on that show and I loved it so much, and I thought I wanted to do another sort of historical piece, I tried to think about, let's expand, taking a step back, I would like to do something that's even more historical. What's an old world version of an actress? And, basically more than 500 years ago, women really didn't have many options when it came to professions. And if you wanted to have any kind of independence as a woman,
You've gotta be
turning to
really
a
annoying.
religious life
gotta be
and being
fucking
really
mental.
fucking mental and annoying, but having these huge visions.
But your only
were
route into
basically-
history was being annoying.
Yeah, you had to be really annoying, but also very, very performative.
Interrupting the Grand National,
Yeah.
exactly.
throwing yourself in front
Wait,
of a
if
horse.
you want to make it into the history routes, you just got to be fucking.
You got to be fucking annoying, you got to be fucking loud, but you've also got to say, yeah, I'm literally talking to God. And to me, that's the most actressy thing that you can
Yeah,
do.
I guess
so
it is.
I just thought I would love to write something that's sort of about a medieval equivalent of an actress. And I realised that was about a woman who's sort of not faking religious visions because they didn't necessarily have that.
Sorry.
I'm really so sorry to cut you
Sorry
off.
to
No,
cut you
no,
off
no. Do you
there.
know what?
This-
It's good
no,
for me to
no,
prepare
it's
myself
really-
how much
it's
I'm going
breaking
to
It's
be
really
news.
important,
interrupted right now.
and I hope this doesn't dent your
break-
self-confidence. But
it's
Charlie
breaking
has just
news.
Googled
What?
fattest
Sorry.
woman
Fattest
ever.
woman ever.
Charlie,
Why are you looking
No,
at
this is
fattest woman ever when I started talking?
Charlie.
Bebe started talking, you typed in fattest woman ever. Do you know how fucking rude that is?
That is, Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
this is
a
Eamon-
possibility of exacerbating
Yeah.
live
Well, you-
body
you-
issues. Okay, Charlie. BB starts talking. You Google fattest woman.
Well, but yeah, Bebe didn't come up, but
It's got another tab saying.
I didn't come up, which is great. I've
most
seen
bo-
what my fucking top
most-
Google image search is, and it's
most
not
boring
that
woman
different
ever.
from that,
Yeah.
to be fair. So,
Charlie's listening to BB going, most boring woman ever, most fat woman ever. Why are women so
this
fat and
is
boring?
actually Bebe's Wikipedia
Yeah,
photo.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
that-
This is Eamon Ahmed from
Right.
Egypt. and
Egypt takes the crown.
Wow.
Good for
I
you
wouldn't-
guys.
I
The
would've
Mohammed
thought-
Salah of fat women.
I would have thought it'd be a Pacific Islander or something.
Yeah, no more salad.
What?
Mohammed Salah.
Right, it's in there
It's
somewhere.
somewhere.
Yeah,
It's,
that
I
was-
went for a swing. This is a comedy
No,
podcast.
you don't know what's hit. You don't know what's
Before
make contact with the
before
ball.
we go into medieval women, I guess what we find interesting, because we do such male history,
History.
and history,
Yep.
about stuff that happened, things that change the world,
Important
things.
Yeah.
What is I know a lot of women who are into history. What are the big? What's like World War II for women? Is it the Tudors? Like, what are the big kind of
Yeah.
witches?
what do you think that women are most interested
Yeah,
in?
what is the?
I
If
would
women
say
are into
If
history,
dads are in the shed painting
Yeah.
Spitfires,
Okay.
women are
Learning about Henry VIII's six
strumming
wives.
themselves silly.
well. Obviously, women are sort of doing the housework and picking up the kids and filling all the holes in their lives
Fingering
that the dad has
themselves.
vacated.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as in if roles
The
were
Titanic.
yes,
Yeah, that's actually for men and women, because you get Titanic's one of the most gender neutral topics there is.
War of the Roses.
because engineering and it's romance.
Yeah.
Wars of the Roses.
Courtly Love, I suppose. Maybe anything that's
Courtney
like
Love.
Courtney Love.
Courtney Love. No, not
Who
Courtney
killed
Love.
Kurt
Oh,
Cobain?
Oh,
Courtney.
for fuck's sake!
I heard Courtney Love. To be fair, I did hear Courtney courtly love.
Courtly love.
Right.
Like the concept of, romantic affairs happening, amongst
Walking around a
the high court.
garden to propose to someone.
Absolutely. Maybe
Regency,
Queen
that's
Victoria.
women's history.
Of course, the Regency.
Jane Austen.
Right. I wouldn't say that, or at least from my perspective, I don't think that women are that interested in like warfare. I never, to be honest, I'm going to be really honest. Every time that me and Horatio have ever watched a war thing together, and they have that big scene where it's the two sides of the armies. I don't know how you even do.
Yeah.
And then
It's good to have Murray on the podcast.
And then they
You should go on We Have Ways of Making You Talk. You fit it right in.
and then they start running towards each other in the middle of the field, and I truly cannot wrap my head around that. That's just how like wars happen, where you just run against.
Well, that is very
you
funny.
run-
Yeah.
Because
You
you
run up
think
against.
wars would be you'd start spreading shit about the other people.
Well,
and
yeah,
you
I
spread
guess
it.
so. That's
Yeah.
what my tactics would be. But the idea, I can't even. It makes my brain like short circuit when I think about like just two sides of people running up against each other in a field and whacking each other with stuff. I lose.
It is crazy.
I lose all interest because it so doesn't make any sense to me that, that's what people had to do. That's what men have to do.
Yeah.
So I think. From my perspective, girls like me, I just don't think that we're drawn to that element of history. We're drawn to, I don't know, I think like things that are about like power and affairs and, how
Soap opera
secretive
stuff.
and
telenovela
soap opera stuff.
sort of stuff.
Trashy stuff
Yeah,
maybe is how you
EastEnders.
guys would view it.
Yeah.
But I just am not interested in the violent parts of it, really.
Right.
I've had a Titanic phase, Henry VIII phase, maybe Robin Hood I was vaguely interested in at one point.
Yeah.
Not like any of the money stuff or like, taxes and stuff that
That's
that
no.
goes over my head.
Trade.
But like, the idea of bandits in the forest, that's quite fun.
Ooh.
The sexy fox who played Robin
Yeah,
Hood.
it's mostly
That's
just
female
about the
gaze.
sexy fox that plays Robin Hood.
Yeah.
So I
I
suppose maybe women are attracted to more of the medieval period rather
think
than
so.
the
I think
crushing
that
war
it's-
machine.
it's-
What's the attraction to the Middle Ages?
One of the
for
things,
women?
I have a very romanticized view of the medieval period. It's not an accurate one. I think it's weird because in school we're very much. It's like this diametrically opposite thing where we know that it would have been the worst time to be alive, but at the same time we also view it as like this very romantic, idealistic, like sort of creatively fertile time. Like a maiden sort of sitting in a stone turreted window with like long hair. Maybe I'm just thinking of Rapunzel. Maybe I am just thinking of
because the
Rapunzel.
Middle Ages has two things. It's either kind of Princess in a Tower, George the Dragon, or it's I'm wearing a potato sack covered in shit.
I think it's
It's
also.
either, do you know what I mean? It's like
I
those are the
think-
two things.
I think that it's also very influenced, my perception of the Middle Ages anyway, very influenced by the mid-century medieval revival movement that
Right.
was very
What's
much
that?
popular in the 1960s. So sort of prog rock music and
Pink
colourful
Floyd. Pink Floyd.
ties.
lot.
No, I
Yeah,
don't like this lot, yeah.
there was like a real...
Stonehenge.
Yeah, which is actually kind of just like hippie whimsical.
Yeah.
I think that's
folk.
very
Yeah, I
folk,
like folk,
which
yeah.
I love, right?
Yeah.
Right, I detest.
Paisley, velvet,
Wait,
embroidered
you're sucking on that.
embroidered
sucking
clothes,
Yeah.
long flowing hair, musical instruments that are made out of wood.
Bang them up, they're a danger to society. Look 'em up.
Yeah, you're not into that.
Extremist.
You're really not into that. Horatio's a bit hippie.
I'm a
He
little bit.
loves
I
it.
know, I know,
He fucking
I
loves
know.
it. Me
I
too.
know.
And
I'm
I
the
think
gayest
that
one on this podcast. And
Yeah.
certainly.
that aspect
And
of
Charlie's
it,
actually a bit gay.
I think that aspect of it, and also the fact is a lot of the childhood illustrations in like fairy tales that we all grew up with are very much influenced by like the sort of 1960s re-interest in like sort of fairy tales and things like that. I think that
But they're so sanitized. I mean, like, what does a woman do for her period? She just wipe it on a rock.
The medieval period. Let's talk about
Let's
periods
talk
in the
about.
medieval.
If we're going to talk about it,
Yeah.
let's dig into.
Well,
do you
let's
do?
talk about what the difference is between how they viewed men
so
and women in the
so
Middle
this
Ages.
is the old
actually were.
LBC gotcha question.
Right.
What is a woman?
So you're Nick Ferrari.
I'm Nick Ferrari. Don't tempt me. I'd love to be Nick Ferrari. But
Do you know what they thought was the difference now anatomically between men and
in the
women?
medieval period, which let's just say, what kind of era is this? Is this 14th century? Is it 1300s?
Let's go say from like the 1300s to I
Do you
don't know
wanna
the vague
place this?
1600s.
Okay, so we're talking about 1300s. When place this for us
All
historically?
right.
would
So
you?
this is after Cleopatra.
Yeah.
Um,
Big birth.
yeah. After Cleopatra and before the woman threw a cat in the bin.
Lovely. That's exactly what we're talking about. Cleopatra's been
One
and gone
woman to another.
from one woman to another. Girl on girl. A woman who threw a
I'm
cat in
so
the bin.
sorry. Can we get woman who threw cat in the bin video up again?
One of the best.
It is. It's an all-timer for me. I think it's a Hall of Fame.
Sorry, we were trying to name all the historical women in the last episode. What was it? Joan of Arc, Florence Nightingale, Pankhurst,
Cleopatra,
Thatcher, Truss. Woman who put the cat in the bin.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the lot.
Let's have a look at this. I mean, it really. Oh no, this is
Not the trial,
Trial,
Charlie.
Charlie.
The fucking
And
violence.
she only gets fined 250 quid. But it's not about the fine. It's about she symbolises something. Broken Britain, right? Here we go. This is brilliant. I love this.
It's unprovoked.
It's like the Sycamore Gap felling.
There we go.
And bang.
Sentiment. Yeah.
Look at that.
Lovely.
Fuck off.
Fuck off.
I mean that.
It's the coldness and the slowness with which she
So
moves.
calculating. Cats in the bin.
Do you think it's calculating or
Very
is it like
witchy,
is it-
witchy behaviour,
Yeah,
actually.
I mean, is it unwanted thought syndrome? Because we all have thoughts. Imagine if I just kicked that man,
Yeah. I
long
think it
man
was
in
that.
front of a train.
Yeah, I think it was that.
Yeah.
She
Well,
just
it's her
acted
reclaiming
unwanted.
a little bit of power. You never know. Maybe she's like had a
you could
really
dress
rough
it up
night with her
like that.
husband.
You could have dressed it up
What?
like
It's a
that.
reclaim. It's like a powerful.
Slay Queen.
Right,
Yeah.
well-behaved women don't make history.
Put the
That's
cat in the
that's what it
bin.
is. Yeah,
Yeah.
they fucking don't. They
She's actually a feminist icon.
Yeah,
Just like
otherwise she wouldn't be on the fucking news, would
To be
she?
She's like Frida Kahlo.
well-behaved women don't make history. That does work here because people will still be talking about the woman who threw a cat in the bin in 25 years' time.
Yeah, you're
And
right.
it's because she was very naughty.
So, what is the medieval understanding of a woman?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically the idea was that in gestation you're trying to create the perfect organism, and that men were that sort of perfect creation, and women were sort of half-formed.
So they're
sort
quite ahead of their time,
deformed
really.
Men.
Yeah.
Ahead of the
I
time,
mean, this
yeah.
is what you think.
Yeah.
In Aristotle's model, when babies are born
So-
female, it's because they haven't
Underdeveloped.
received enough heat during gestation. So men were viewed to be hot, dry, and strong, and women were viewed to be
Soggy.
overly wet, soggy,
Fat,
and weak.
wet, and weak.
Yeah, genuinely. It's a very strange as well. This like equation of women being, because they were thought to have so much excess fluid. They cried too much. They menstruated.
Really? That is interesting.
And that's what made their brains damper and not
Worse.
as able to contain, thoughts and
Because they're soggy.
Because they're soggy, and men were viewed to be dry.
Wow, that's amazing.
Men were viewed to be dry.
So men are like crackers and women are like baked beans.
Well, that's just fucking horrible. So no.
Well, no, because it's all about balance, isn't it? If you're just eating beans, that's a bit much.
Yeah.
If you're just eating crackers, you
Yeah,
can
that's
only eat
also a
about
bit
4
much.
Crackers and beans?
beans on a cracker. It's lovely.
Is there anything better than a beans on a cracker
Name me something that's better than baked beans on a cracker.
after a long day?
Jacob's cream cracker with a tin of beans on it.
And I think it's.
That's women and men, harmony.
When to become one.
I mean, obviously, like even now, I would say that like the study of women's bodies and women's medicine is still
Don't make
much
this
below.
political, baby. Sorry.
She's an extremist.
But
Sorry,
especially back then, there was this amazing medieval women exhibition that was on at the British Library that we went to.
Yeah, it was really
and
good.
This medieval anatomy book had like insane drawings of the inside of a woman's body, and even though like
Well, they're just guessing, right?
Well, they're just kind of guessing, but even though she's like fully naked and it's like illustrated with all of the organs on the outside, she still has to have a head covering, which I found really funny. It's like
Even in a medical drawing.
in a medical
woman,
drawing,
cover
she's
her
still
head.
got to have like don't just fucking hide her hair,
Still put her
please.
burqa
We're
on
trying
her.
to wait.
Yeah.
But they
Kidney, intestines, cover her hair. Would you?
Dear my love.
I'm too horny. Come on.
But they drew the pregnancy. It was like a fully grown man standing inside of a woman's stomach. His head reached like the sort of top of her chin, and her feet, and his feet were like.
That's where you were born.
They didn't
You
really
walked
have a
out.
conception of like the baby in the womb really.
Well, they
and how
must
that
have
looked
because
like.
babies came out as babies.
Yeah.
They did come out as babies, but they didn't understand what was going on inside of there. They were like, "Oh, witch magic, witch magic."
Right.
Right. Yeah.
and
But there's also
also-
the look. If women looked in the mirror too long, vanity, then the devil will appear and show his arsehole. I think I talked about this before. So remember this in the
Oh, yeah.
exhibition? So there's this great like wood carving, which is from the 1400s. There's a drawing in a book, a really quite good little animation of this woman. I think she's doing her hair, and then in the mirror, the devil with this nasty face like horns is there, and he's stretching his arse and just revealing his entire hole. And it's being reflected in the mirror.
Yeah.
But weirdly, women were also viewed as the ones that were overly lustful. Women had no control over their desires, and it's like actually that women would be the ones that would sort of lure men into having affairs and things like that.
Well, yeah, this is the whole witch burning craze, isn't
Well,
it?
we talked about this on our witch
Yeah,
episode
yeah.
about the German witch concentration. What's this?
This is like a sort of adjacent toy.
It's not adjacent. No,
adjacent.
Blue
we're
dot
literally
smelling
we're
ginger
onto
boys
something interesting for the
ring
first
piece.
time.
You've just gone on eBay and you're
50 quid.
finding lewd
Anyway,
trinkets. Women were lustful.
Women were just viewed as overly lustful, but I just find it. I mean, obviously, it's just like these insane double standards that you can't live up to.
Leave your radical politics at the door.
Also, kind of interesting. I didn't really realize, like, the marriage contract in medieval society was a lot more casual. It just had to be a verbal contract. It could happen anywhere.
But then you needed some sheep and some hay. Some goods had to exchange hands.
I mean, so some kind of a dowry to be exchanged, but ultimately it was just a verbal contract, which made it very confusing sometimes in medieval society. Say if there has been a verbal contract agreed, and therefore you are actually viewed legally as married, but then if the man says, well, no, nobody saw us having that conversation, that's why I had sex with all of these other women, etc. But it just had to be a verbal contract, and then then you would have a big party to celebrate. I find really interesting. Also, to consummate a marriage, so it was a verbal contract, but you did need to consummate the marriage for it to be viewed as like legally binding.
Right.
And say if the bride, she's 12 years old or something like that, and she doesn't want to, be married to this old stinky man or something like that, but the parents really do want her to. I was just reading about a story of this girl who wanted to commit herself to a life of religious chastity, which we'll get on to. And the parents were so upset about this that they kept on trying to sneak men into her bedchambers at night. This man that they really wanted to marry her, because if he could sort of successfully rape her, then it means that sort of her commitment to a life of religious chastity would be null and void. So the parents
different men.
Yeah, no. So there was one man who was a bishop initially that was trying to bed her, and the parents were totally fine with that. He was like, yeah, send her into my bedroom later, and they sort of tried to trick her around that. She luckily escaped, but then a different man, they wanted to bed her, and they kept on trying to sneak him into her bedchambers. Imagine your parents trying to sneak a guy into your bedchambers so that he can rape you. It's a pretty brutal time, I think, to be a woman.
I guess so.
Yeah,
I guess it's like conservative parents.
Yeah. So anyway, one of the women that I wanted to talk to you guys about was a girl called Catherine of Siena.
Please.
She was living in the 14th century.
This is our first broad.
And she's a big inspiration for the character that I've written about in my show, because she, similar to that girl, she didn't want to pursue the normal path that women would expect to take.
Because what are your options?
Well,
wife.
Ultimately, to be a wife and a mother was essentially the path that you could be.
Yeah.
Women weren't given the access to education unless you were a noble woman. And to be honest, actually, the highest.
Fucking hell, is that her?
That's bloody her, yeah.
Bloody hell.
So she really took it seriously, the whole Jesus thing. She was one of 25 siblings.
How many of them are living beyond the age of life?
I would say probably loads of them died, like literally loads of them died. Her twin sister also died. Her twin sister,
Did she eat her in the womb?
No, she didn't eat her in the womb, but Catherine's mother breastfed Catherine because she was sort of the favourite child, but she didn't breastfeed her sister, and then her sister died.
Well, yeah, because there's no formula at this point.
Yeah, there's no
formula. That was, she killed her child.
Yeah, so she killed her child, and I think Catherine always carried around a lot of guilt about the fact that her sister... She got breastfed and her sister didn't.
How would she know? Because you stopped breastfeeding about 18 months.
Yeah, it's true. But I think it's maybe that the mother then had another baby after the twin sister died and gave her the same name.
Well, but is her mum like teasing you? Is her mum being like,
Yeah.
So
Charlie's still breastfeeds.
Catherine had a younger sister.
What is it, Charlie?
What is the max that you can breastfeed? I think it's maybe 10.
Yeah.
Charlie, that's so late.
Yeah, there is, but I think you can get away with it.
But there's something holy
I think
about...
you can.
Three.
You can't.
I'd still hang out
why
with
do you
the
think
guy.
you can?
Because you can.
You can't breastfeed up until 10, Charlie. That's insane.
You can't.
You could.
You can't.
If I found out my mate, if he was just like opened up and he was like, look, it was weird time. I didn't really decide it. I just kept doing it because it was
I guess
tasty.
he doesn't have much consent in it.
I'd be like,
Charlie,
cool,
your
fine.
mates live on barges and bins and gypsies. These aren't people who follow society's codes. The latest you can get away with breastfeeding a child, in my opinion, is 3. In terms of, as people...
At least 4.
Yeah, but I guess the full-grown man sucking on the mother's teat, is a religious imagery there.
I
isn't
think...
there? That's the Madonna,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
That's the amount of paintings of the young sucking on the teat.
In
That's
fact,
a holy image.
But this is something I wanted to talk about really. I feel like Jesus Christ himself actually has a very sort of breastfeeding kind of an energy. There's a reason why so many of these female mystics sort of gravitate towards the idea of being married to Jesus and sort of sucking on his festering sores, drinking the blood from his wounds. It's actually a very maternal image. He's kind of like a mother, and he's also kind of like a bleeding woman in a way.
What, Jesus
I think
like a mum?
female mystics they relate to Jesus because of the suffering and
So-
because of the
sorry,
moisture.
We need to wind back a bit. We must
we do.
remember.
Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
It's fine. It's classic blabbermouth syndrome. But we must remember, Bebe, that our listeners, our viewers, are incredibly thick.
Yeah. So
and fat.
we
Bebe,
don't. The actual history, they're not that interested in.
Bebe, they're thick, they're smelly,
Okay.
and they're lonely,
Okay.
and they will be
Breastfeeding.
They will be breastfeeding up until the age of maybe 30.
So really simple stuff.
Really simple stuff.
Okay, I'll keep it really, really simple. So Catherine of
They
Siena.
are allowed rail cards way beyond the normal time.
Okay, so Catherine of Siena, 14th century Italy,
Yes.
right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Birth of the
there's-
Renaissance, actually. Siena, all the proto-Renaissance stuff was all in Siena at this time.
Absolutely. But there's huge famine going on. The Black Death.
Death
has,
of colour.
Yeah,
exactly.
thank you very much. DOC.
And it's
DOC.
essentially, I feel like it was very much a time where people felt like God had gone. Like God was angry. That's why
He'd
there was
fucked off.
that was why harvest was
gone
terrible.
out to get cigarettes, didn't come back.
So in a way, it's like not only is this girl going to be rebellious in lots of other ways, it's kind of very rebellious, I think, to like lead this life of like, when other people are sort of trying to repopulate the earth and get married and have lots of babies. The
Bust
idea
the
of you
pussy
saying,
I guess there's a Black Death, wasn't it? It was a Black Death.
yes, exactly. I just said that.
Yeah.
So everyone's dying. In
Everyone's
Italy.
dying. The idea that you would say, no, I'm not going to fucking do that. I'm not
So sorry.
repopulating
So
the earth.
what is she refuting? The idea that she's going to be a mother.
She doesn't want to be a mother.
I don't want
Okay,
that.
but the reason why I think she doesn't want to be a mother, so not only does her twin sister die, her
Yeah.
twin sister Giovanna, her mum then has another baby, calls her Giovanna, which is kind of weird as well, isn't it? To think that when so
Choose
many
a different
kids,
name, I reckon.
yeah, use a different name. But I feel like that's something that happened quite a lot in medieval societies when you had so many siblings dying that you would sort of reuse names.
You wouldn't remember who's alive and who's not. I mean, it's like a chicken.
You can't
Doesn't really
remember
mean
that
anything.
many siblings, to be fair.
It's like a
right?
pig
You
with
probably
like
can't.
eight things.
You
And
just
then if you have 8 kids a year,
Reuse the names.
yeah. Well, it's like I don't fucking know.
But it's like when you have loads of kids in a family, you have lots of hand-me-downs. Just hand the name down.
Sorry, Charlie's googled one of the all-time. How is us talking?
Oh my god, Charlie.
Charlie, how is us
Is that going
talking?
to show up on the screen?
How is us
Yeah.
talking about medieval Italy? And you've just googled is pineapple up the penis actually as bad as birth?
Well, that's what I've been told.
By who? By one of your bin friends?
I just think I learned it maybe at school. That
No, you didn't.
What school? Were you homeschooled?
It was no, I went to a
Montessori.
I went to
Yeah.
a proper school. That apparently, and it's a way of empathizing with women actually.
shoving a pineapple
I
up
feel
your
very
cock.
empathised with.
As in, if you apparently it's as painful as giving birth is like putting a pineapple.
Why
up your
would
penis.
anyone ever put a pineapple up their penis?
You
though?
couldn't put a pineapple up your penis, but you can give birth, and you can't put a
I
pineapple up your penis.
imagine kind of the feminist allies in the Women's March. Some of those blokes would do it.
Just
This is what a feminist looks like.
yeah. Wherein this is what a feminist looks like while your wife's giving birth, just at the same time.
Yeah. And she's like, help. And like, no, I'm actually going to go through it with you because we're pregnant. What fucking tosspot nonce.
I was having lunch at school, and year above leant over and said, we were talking about whether pineapple changes the taste of cum.
Yeah.
And then leant over and said, "Trust me, it doesn't." Right? And he's trying to. He thinks it's implying that he's
been
getting
heard this from
blowjob,
girls,
but
yeah.
it seemed like he's just been drinking his own cum. Trust me. It doesn't.
doesn't.
Big spark. And I think he thought we'd be like, oh, fuck, he's getting
Oh,
sucked
a connoisseur.
No, he's gobbling his own cum. Sorry, Catherine of Siena. Enough about cum.
Speaking of gobbling cum, Catherine of Siena is a medieval woman who is refusing to gobble cum.
Yeah.
She started having intense religious visions of Jesus,
Which is
appearing
a
to
common
her.
thing throughout medieval women is the vision thing.
Well, I think partly because when women have reading and writing restricted from them, but religion is such a sort of
They can't read or write.
They can't. Well, they're not taught to, right?
Well, I mean, they can use their initiative.
they can use their initiative.
You can pull
And-
yourself up by the bootstraps.
But religion is such a sort of permeating
Og
part of
straps.
culture, isn't it? But it's like really inaccessible if you think about the fact that
Got to open
like,
a book.
Got to stop talking for 1 second.
In church would be
Stop
essentially.
telling people about your fucking
you have to
dreams
go-
for 1 second and open a book.
You have to go to
Oh, I
church.
can't do it.
Sorry,
can't do
baby.
it.
Sorry, baby.
You have to go
Sorry.
to church. You're told that if you stray from religious teachings that you're going to go to hell. But all your access to religion really is like some priest with his back turned to you speaking in Latin. You don't have any fucking idea what he's talking about. Women that did feel a sense of like religiousness. It was very sensual. Like female mysticism
Horny.
is all about the senses. Not necessarily always horniness, although we will get to that when it comes to like Junia of Norwich. She was
terrifying.
very horny for it.
But I suppose the God is reliant on faith in the same way that the female orgasm is.
Absolutely. Well, did Mary come?
Who knows?
Does God exist?
No, but
Does the
did
female
Mary come?
Do women come? We don't know.
We can't know.
We can't know.
Medieval
One of life's great
medieval
unsolvable
scientists
mysteries.
for a long time thought that the way for a woman to get pregnant that she had to orgasm. They thought that that's how women got pregnant. They thought that that's how conception happened, which is amazing because I can't imagine that medieval men were making women come.
When
that
do you
much.
reckon the first female orgasm was?
Probably 1971.
Yeah, I reckon 1971. I reckon. Marvin Gaye's around.
Well, it had to be discovered. It was, you know.
But it's an interesting
It's
theological
like
discussion.
penicillin. It was by accident.
Yeah, it was.
Religious visions and like these ecstatic visions that is a very common thread between a lot of these female mystics.
And what do they look like? Just visualize it. Are they? What's the?
Well, it was like a lot of public outpourings of heavenly feelings. Mary's described when she
I think
conceives.
Charlie found a video of.
This is a lady who had 180 orgasms in 2 hours.
In 2 hours.
So is this Catherine of Siena?
This is Catherine of Siena, I think.
Right. So because they couldn't read or write,
Yeah.
Sexually aroused.
they're much more kind of sensual.
Her legs buckled and she fell, experiencing a series of crippling, unstimulated orgasms.
Imagine having orgasms being sort of
Clara
crippling.
was
Crippling
diagnosed
orgasm.
with persistent genital arousal disorder.
Stop it, Charlie. I mean, it's one of those diseases, a bit like alcoholism, where you're like, it looks quite fun.
Yeah. Well, there's
it ruins. It's bad for other people around
yeah.
you.
No, he's shaking his head.
No, because there was the case of that man who had this, but
I remember
he
we did
busted
it on
his dad's funeral.
Yeah,
like
he busted
3
his dad's
times.
funeral. Yeah,
I'd hate to do that.
he's going
yeah.
up to the open casket, going, "I love you, Dad." I mean, that is bad.
That is bad.
But then, do you know what? Can you just not come for 3 seconds? Do you know what I mean? Can you take a day? Can you take a day
Keep
off?
it in your pants, Nigel.
Take a day off for a minute. Do you say goodbye to your dad? Come on.
I think it is an interesting question to raise in a very like puritanical society. This idea that the Immaculate Conception, and Mary was the woman that didn't have to suffer from childbirth because of Eve. That's like women's sin, is that they have to have this really painful childbirth, but Mary doesn't have to experience that. And this idea that God like makes Mary come so hard that she literally conceives Christ himself. I think that is quite funny. The idea that like you weren't allowed to talk about sex and yet like religion was so inherently sexual, I think,
But
is so interesting.
also, like in the way that like you had lots of One Direction posters when you were growing up, and like the boy band theory, when there's 5 of them all together.
Jesus is like the
But
ultimate
they don't have
fucking teeny
any.
bopper.
They don't have anybody to look up apart from loads of images of Jesus. Of course, it's quite.
And he
it's
looks
quite
fucking
horny.
great
Charlie,
in all of them.
Can you get rid of the coming woman from the screen?
But it's such a horny relationship between these women and Jesus because
Yeah.
they're trying to discover their sexuality, and the only place they can really put it is into faith.
Well, maybe because it was also a bit of independence. You didn't have some horrible sweaty man calling all over you at all hours of the night. Whereas at least if you're married to God, you're married to Jesus. That sounds like probably a bit more of a pleasurable
But also
evening.
like fantasy erotica, right? That women are really into. It's like for them, the ultimate sexual fantasy is not a horrible man in reality. It's a wizard lord listening to your feelings.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's like what turns.
It's the Elf King.
Men sexual fantasies is your stepsister gets stuck in a washing machine. And the only way to get her out is by fucking her out of it, right? That's and then the female
engineering, family, that's it.
And then the female sexuality is you get captured by an elf lord, but he listens to your feelings and he validates you.
And he doesn't have a real body,
So
and he just like floats in the air. He just listens
He's
to
a therapist.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
Jesus
kind of
doesn't
amazing.
exist, so he's like.
But yeah, I don't know if I already said this about this idea of the virgin being like a sort of separate gender almost
Oh, I
in
didn't know
medieval
you said
society.
this.
3
Yeah.
genders.
No,
Again, this is most of our audience are virgins. So,
there you go.
They're into
You would
sex, a
have
lot of
been
them.
you would have been highly ranked in medieval society. But it's it's almost like it just is different. Well, I mean, we'll get to Anchorites being literal women who were walled up in
Do
these
the 3
cells
genders.
connected to women. Well, I don't really have any more to say about it rather than like, women, your role was to become like a mother and a wife and to bear children, and a man was to provide, a home and to work and, whatever.
Hunt some
And to
hogs.
be a
And the
virgin was like
virgin
this
was
kind
to
of
play World of
religious
Warcraft.
consecrated role that like, wasn't even seen as like a woman anymore, wasn't seen as like a sexual object. They were seen as something godly. It was like a way to elevate yourself above the rank of other women in a way, which is why you think that some of these women probably in a modern society would have been like CEOs or something like that. They had business
bosses.
minds.
So are virgins like looking at other women as sluts?
Yes.
Right.
No, I don't think they're looking at other women as sluts. They revered motherhood, but they also were like, yeah, I'm not going to do that, you know?
Right.
So Catherine of Siena, she don't want no.
So she starts having religious visions at 6 years old.
6 years old.
6 years
Sorry,
old.
6 years old. I didn't realise.
But
Catherine
then
of Siena.
medieval 6 is current day 18.
Yeah, it's true. It's
That's
dog
fine.
years.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
thank you.
And she has her twin sister's dead.
Regretted that.
She already feels bad because she got to breastfeed. Twin sister didn't.
Oh.
She has a beloved older sister, Bonaventura,
Yeah.
who's married
Yeah.
and who's really into fashion and stuff and is trying to get Catherine into fashion.
Yeah, so it's like Clueless.
And it's like Clueless, did you
Yeah,
say?
yeah.
But Bonaventura has a husband.
Great,
who's a bit,
great right back. Sorry.
Bonaventura has a husband who's a little bit lecherous, and Bonaventura, to try and punish him back in line,
Yeah.
she decides to go on a hunger strike, which influences the young Catherine at that age that a way to kind of get your power and to sort of manipulate people is to starve yourself. Fasting is going to become a big theme with all of these women.
Fasting.
Fasting.
So like anorexia, bulimia.
Oh, it's
Diet
right.
culture.
It's diet culture starts here.
Yeah.
Diet culture
Heroin
starts
chic,
fucking
Kate Moss.
here. How many days did you fast this week, Catherine?
Yeah.
Well, like she fasted 5.
So a lot of competitive fasting, I imagine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So she starts to learn these ideas about sort of, hunger and
Binging as well.
fasting. But also then Bonaventura then dies in childbirth. And I think your beloved sister dying in childbirth, which was essentially like, a death sentence for so many women, it's such a dangerous time to have to give birth. I think that would have pushed Catherine even further into this religious path that she wanted to pursue.
It's pretty much 1 in 1 out childbirth, wasn't it? At that time.
Yeah, it was like a strict
50-50.
bounce. It was
Strict
like a Berlin nightclub.
50-50.
This is a really awful question, but I don't know the answer.
You're not known for them.
In terms of how you actually die in childbirth,
Yes.
do you just get like mashed to pieces? Like what actually happens? Did you just get like exploded?
It would have been,
Like an
about
incinerator.
internal bleeding. It would have been...
Well, my wife nearly died the first time. It's preeclampsia, where it's the
Yeah,
placenta just kind of explodes or something.
Yeah.
And
Right.
but your blood pressure and you basically have a stroke, essentially. is what it is.
It puts your body,
But they still don't know- they
under
still-
extreme
they still
stress.
don't- they still don't
Also,
know.
there are certain health conditions that women would have, say a heart condition that wouldn't actually come, you wouldn't have any symptoms of it until you get pregnant or until
Yeah.
childbirth happens. But a lot of the time it's internal bleeding.
Right.
And anyway, so it pushes Catherine.
Sometimes the baby was so big that you'd be smashed
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Just
Let's
mash,
Mashed
get
up.
another
Yeah,
fat baby up,
mashed up.
shall we?
mash the pussy up.
But,
To the
Well,
pussy
'cause
turn
you-
red.
yeah, pussy turned red.
yeah.
Pussy turned dead.
Yeah, because of all this fasting that you love, but you're super into watching people binge eat.
I
right?
like watching people do the 10,000 calorie challenge.
Yeah.
Sorry.
This is the fattest.
Fattest medieval baby Charlie's found. That's
yeah,
a very fat baby.
fattest medieval baby.
Who are your favourite content creators who are
Well,
binge
it was
eat?
when I was younger and I was having a bit of diet culture sort of issues. And when I was trying to sort of, stop myself from binging, I would watch these guys who were like muscle bros do the 10,000 calorie challenge.
What,
and
so
they
you
would
just reimpose
those
that
eating guys.
I would just
yeah.
watch it and they would eat five tubs of Ben and Jerry's and they'd be like, I'm not even enjoying it anymore. And so then I think it would sort of put me off. So in a way, I'm kind of like a medieval mystic
but
in
you'd
that
watch
way.
who's the fat woman we watched eating all that stuff, and they show it up to the camera what they're about to eat. Because I always catch
what you
her,
mean
she
the
was
girl on
watching it.
TikTok? The
Yeah.
girl on TikTok?
Yeah.
Becky something.
I always catch her just watching. It'll just be like a giant woman who's having an episode.
Those are different
and
because
she
those
shows it up to the camera what she's about to eat.
Those
and
aren't
then-
those aren't the 10,000 calorie a day challenges. Those
Right.
aren't people that are actively binging. Those are people who are saying, "Hello, I'm fat and I'm not trying to lose weight. Here's what I eat in a day."
And it's fucking.
And it's
loads.
kind of rage bait.
Sorry. In the last episode, you literally made me watch a Welsh guy drinking 20, doing the exact same thing with pints. So it's just
It's the
women,
same thing.
women have eating conditions
Yeah,
and men
it's
have
true.
a drinking problem.
They wouldn't have had terms like anorexia, by the way.
Holy fuck, Charlie. Sorry.
Sorry, I don't even know if there's much to say here. That's the world's smallest mum.
Yeah.
Well,
And
what,
she's
how's the
given-
baby the same size as the mum?
That's crazy.
No.
So sorry, Catherine of Siena.
Catherine of
right?
Siena.
So what happens to her?
So she starts to pursue a life that's like much more saintly. She's very inspired by other venerated saints. Her namesake, Catherine, Saint of Alexandria, and who inspired the famous firework, the Catherine wheel.
Oh,
She was
right.
martyred by
Right.
being
She
tied
was-
onto
she
a
was-
massive wheel.
She was mad. So she
Really?
Was, she
The Catherine Wheel?
She got
The
tied
Catherine
to
wheel
got
is
tied
because
to the fucking
she got tied to a
firework.
wheel, yeah.
and just ah.
Yeah, what do you think that the fucking this one is?
Oh right, so it's just literally just
She's a mad woman strapped to a wheel.
yeah, it's just a Carnival Joan and Arc.
Anyway, so she starts becoming inspired by these other sort of patron saints. She cuts all of her hair off. She tries to defy a lot of norms of femininity. Her parents really want her. She's getting into her sort of mid-teens now, so she's actually kind of old to be a bit
like Britney Spears, yeah.
But she is like very much against this, sort of starts starving herself. And then her parents want her to marry the sister's widow. And this is sort of like the final straw for her. So she starts having these really, really intense visions of Christ. And I think that it's kind of quite easy now to look at her situation and realize like this is a very troubled teenage girl that doesn't want to be pushed into.
Lavigne.
Yeah.
And visions are sort of migraines.
Visions could be migraines. I get migraines.
Yeah.
Not with aura, to be fair. I don't see Jesus.
No, but in
when I
this,
have a migraine.
people are very, very thick.
Yeah.
And
So
stupid.
yeah.
And so when they have a problem with light, they're like, that's probably God.
Yeah.
Because it hurts.
Yeah.
Because God's coming in me. That's probably what I don't
But
know.
also, I just don't really think, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, and I'm definitely not very historically well read up. I've only been researching this in the last year because of my show, and it's already a parody anyway. But did people really have a concept of atheism then? There wasn't really an option to not be religious.
No.
So instead, it
That
was
would
just
be
about your...
If you said that, it'd be like,
You were either religious or you were mentally retarded. Those are the
Exactly.
two options.
And often both.
So
Often
that's why I
both.
think it's interesting then, because it's actually just about what people's interpretation of the divine was. And so if you couldn't read the literal scripture, maybe God to you was just like a big
headache.
ray of light, or a headache,
Yeah.
or a fucking good feeling in your nether regions, or a
Yeah.
nice scratch on your arm.
Big poo.
honestly. So okay,
What did you expect?
she becomes increasingly aesthetic.
Have you
know,
listened to this before?
This is this podcast.
I listened to your Jack the Ripper episodes.
Right.
I really like them.
You're a woman,
She's-
yeah.
yeah,
Woman,
That's another big female history. Fucking love
Crazy.
Jack the
Charlie,
Ripper, man.
get that off.
We already got
Charlie,
that once. You've already
Charlie,
done it once.
Charlie, you're out your
I've actually never done that.
You're out your box. You're out your box this episode. You're out your box.
We've got a guest on and you're absolutely showing us up.
Yeah.
Sorry.
She is increasingly becoming even more sort of like self-flagellating with her behavior. Her parents are trying to get her to, sleep. She's refusing to sleep. She's just doing housework all night. Every time that her parents want her to sleep,
Is that what that film Joy is about?
every time that her mum's trying to come sleep in the bed with me, she sneaks a wooden plank underneath the bed so that she has to suffer so that she can't sleep on something soft, or she'll sleep on the floor.
She's not Japanese or something.
She wears a heavy metal chain around her waist. They're essentially trying to kind of equate themselves to the experience of Jesus as well on the cross. Like,
Right, okay.
because he suffers so much, right?
So what happens to her in the end then?
So basically, she starts becoming more well known in like Sienese culture because of her incredible fasting. Like she's fasting for like weeks and weeks.
So people
at
are
a
coming
time.
like, look how
Look
skinny
at how
this
fucking
bitch
skinny.
is.
It's like Kate Moss.
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
literally
Yeah.
Kate Moss. Like nothing tastes as good as skinny feels.
Right. Yeah.
Truly.
So people are looking at this incredibly thin woman.
She performs a miracle because she was illiterate, and through Jesus' love, because by the way, at this time she now has a mystical marriage with Jesus in her bedroom. All of the apostles are there.
So she's like
Virgin
those
Mary.
women that marry the Eiffel Tower or whatever.
Or like marry a man in prison.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah. So
My
people
husband's a tree, and they just rub themselves up against it or whatever.
she gets the attention of the Pope. Because the papacy at this time is split between Avignon and Rome. And at this current moment in time, it's in Avignon. And Catherine of Siena travels to see the Pope. And he's just like really fucking impressed with her. He's like, look at this skinny tea.
She's so thin.
She's so thin.
Wow.
And it's just like her general religiousness in a time when the world seems so sort of bereft of religion really impresses him. And he ends up fucking coming back to Rome.
Oh, what? Because of the Black Death and everyone's leaving,
And
abandoning
then so
everything.
so
So
I guess
she doesn't eat for 7 months.
She doesn't
or
eat for
whatever.
7 months.
And
Yeah,
then
exactly.
The Pope's like, fuck yeah.
He's like,
Fuck
fucking
yeah.
yeah, I'll come back to
Everyone's so
Rome.
fat
That's
these
so
days.
fucking
do
punky.
You're
it.
so fit.
She does some miracles, like she restores a bunch of milk to women's dried up breasts, which is interesting given her sort of, her relationship with breastfeeding.
Sit down, Charlie.
And she drinks from a diseased lay woman's breast. She drinks the pus.
I wouldn't do that.
And she says that it's
Sorry, pus out the breast.
She drinks the pus out of a diseased
Why,
breast.
why do breasts make pus? Pus feeding? What's that?
Pus feeding, I suppose, yeah. That's like quite a common miracle amongst saints and
It's
nuns
like a
actually, is drinking pus.
like
They
a
would
hack,
drink
it's like
they would
classic.
drink they would drink
Would you
pus
use
from
classic?
festering
How do
sores.
you know vegans are in? They'll
Mummy.
tell you. One of those ones.
It's interesting, isn't it, when you think about the fact that miracles was something that seemingly happened all the time ages ago. Like you would levitate, or you would have clairvoyance, or you would heal people from the sick. But it's like ever since cameras were invented, I'm not seeing any miracles.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But something that nuns would do, a lot, mystical nuns, is that they would drink pus and that they would drink the water off
Puss.
of lepers.
Could be puss.
Drink puss.
No, they could be.
You
You
misread it.
could be misreading it. They could all be lesbian nuns
Yeah.
and they're drinking puss.
This is you straightening up queer history, actually.
Yeah, actually, those were all lesbian
Yeah,
nuns.
we need to re-queer the curriculum.
Also, a miracle that happened is that she was literate,
queer
right?
curriculum.
And
Brilliant.
she becomes literate. She's then able to. She's literate, and through Christ's love, Christ, who she marries in her bedroom.
Sorry,
he-
when did she learn? She learns to read by
She-
drinking puss.
By drinking stinky titty milk.
She has a mystical. I
Does she-
mean, I
is-
am getting the time.
Is she doing that trick where she you're meant to spell the alphabet when you're doing cunnilingus? And that's how she learns to read.
Yeah, A, B. That's how she does her ABCs.
Yeah.
Christ visits her in her bedroom in the peak of her religiousness, right? And her parents are really unhappy with her.
In her head. It
Well,
must be said.
Catholics believe that
What? Since then, people believe this actually happened.
she's like a fucking huge patron saint, Catherine of Siena.
She's like a big deal.
She's a fucking big deal.
I never heard of her.
She's one of the most important women in like the Catholic Church.
I thought she was just random.
No, she's a big deal.
No, she's a big deal.
Right.
So she marries Christ in her bedroom.
Sorry,
Her-
this whole episode, I just thought you just picked a woman from medieval times and we're just chatting about it. But actually, she's a big deal.
Yeah.
She marries Christ in her bedroom.
She marries Christ in her bedroom. He gives her his foreskin as a wedding ring. And like the miracle is that it's still bleeding. It's just bleeding all the time.
Is that a miracle?
Yeah. Sounds inconvenient as well, I suppose.
If Horatio gave you his foreskin,
Yeah.
proposed, and it was bleeding,
Mm-hmm.
would you be like, wow?
It's a miracle.
Or would you be like, oh, I just,
I'd
you know,
prefer a ring.
Hatton Garden's just down there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like it's something that there's also a common theme with a lot of these mystics is that they were definitely a little bit pious and attention seeking. In the Rest is History
A little
episode,
bit attention seeking.
in the Rest is History episode about Catherine Siena, he compares her to Greta Thunberg because she's like very pious at the same time as actually being a bit arrogant. She would like walk
Yes.
through a street full of rioting people and apparently bring them lots of peace and like draw a lot of attention to
Well, this is
herself.
Joan of
Well,
Arc.
Greta
Joan of
Thunberg.
Arc. Joan
Yeah,
of Arc is a smellier, if you can imagine such a thing, a smellier Greta Thunberg. You know, she's medieval, she's
Honking.
French, she honks. But
Yeah.
I guess, are you saying that essentially women had no place in society that wasn't being a mother, and so if
which wasn't being essentially invisible as
yeah,
well.
exactly. And so in order to gain visibility,
had to be
agency, you had to be insanely annoying and basically pretend you were possessed by Christ himself.
Who was the one who got caught? Who was the one who
Abso-fucking-lutely.
got caught?
The monster.
Yeah.
Oh, well, this is just something that I found in like a random academic essay.
Yeah.
There's apparently, because my story also sort of dabbles a little bit with the idea that given that women are so crafty naturally and imaginative and
Conniving.
storytellers
Yeah.
and conniving,
Cunning.
Cunning.
a lot of the theme between these women that I
Sneaky.
want to talk
Yeah.
about is, this idea that
Smelly.
they had this utmost...
Go on.
utmost belief in, their rich inner worlds, like these voices that they were hearing, right? But women are crafty and
No,
women.
what the story?
No, I'm fucking getting
Sorry.
to
Sorry.
that. Jesus.
Come on.
Jesus Christ. Women were crafty, and I really believe that, like, I find it difficult to believe that some of these religious women, that they can't have been like, yeah, no, I'm talking to God. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, I saw that I was talking to God, blah, blah, blah. I know that we're saying that they didn't have a concept of atheism, whatever, but the idea that some women back then wouldn't have been manipulating having these visions to a certain extent, I find crazy.
I'm sure they did, and I'm sure there were also women who were very, very thick and had a headache and thought it was God.
Big time, absolutely. So I was doing some
A
research.
woman came when they didn't think coming was possible and thought, well, that's the God button. I pushed that.
1000%. Can you imagine exploring down there and thinking,
Well, it's
wow,
like your third
maybe
survivor.
I've conceived the second Christ?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe I don't need to leave my village after.
Yeah, go
Charlie,
on, Charlie.
when your hand up, just so you know,
better be good.
It's better because every time this episode you put your hand up, it's been fucking even more retarded than usual.
Yes, I have a question for Bebe. Did people back in the day did they fancy God? Did the women more like love and fancy God and want to be with God as a boyfriend and girlfriend?
It's a really interesting question. I think Julie of Norwich, who is a famous anchoress that we'll talk about in a little while, her book, her writings, Revelations of Divine Love.
Love.
It's like a folk singer. Because I love
Revelation
you.
of divine.
I think are the origin
Bon Iver.
of our kind of quite modern perception of like the really horny nun, like the nun that is in a sort of sexy relationship with God, because her relationship with God was very, very sensual. Whereas Catherine of Siena, I think that she views Jesus more as a mother. She sucks on his blood like a breast.
Right.
Anyway, so what I was saying, so that's a really good question, Charlie. I think that some nuns view him in a very sexual way.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm semi-erect at the minute, genuinely.
Charlie, you're wearing my shorts.
I honestly am.
But to answer your question about this fake thing, I was doing some research into, surely there must have been some religious women that were faking it, right? And even though there's not like necessarily some like real historical accounts of that, I did find this one bizarre academic paper that was a monk telling of a girl that, you know, claimed to be speaking to God and a visionary, sort of a nun like these girls. And everyone in the town believed her. And a pope even, or like a fucking massive priest came to verify her or something like that, until they came to visit her. She apparently was having these intense conversations with a devil, and they weren't allowed to go into her bedroom, but they could hear, you know, her as a girl talking in this devil voice. And there was a monster that she was
Like
claiming was coming around town, and that's why the crops were dying and things like that.
Sorry, so they could hear a devil voice.
Yeah, in her bedroom, but they weren't allowed. But they weren't allowed in the bedroom until, you know, this monk says that a priest came to verify, saw through a crack in the door this girl folding up some clothes on her bed and having a conversation as herself, and then also putting on the monster.
Yeah,
there's so many people.
And
like
then they
that.
burst into the room. Turns out she wasn't fasting. They found a bunch of like food wrappers under her bed, and they found a monster costume. So she was the monster that she was proclaiming was haunting the village, that was making all the crops die. So that was quite exciting to me to find that. That was the one example I found of a woman willfully making this shit up, and that's what I'm trying to sort of tiptoe the line in my show a little bit. But just to finish off on the Catherine of Siena thing,
let's wrap up Catherine of Siena.
She basically gets the attention of the Pope because she's now super, super skinny. She's bringing peace to rioting people.
Snatched as hell.
She decides to go visit the Pope, who's now in Avignon, and basically convinces him to come back to Rome. But sort of similar to Joan of Arc. Like they reach this high point, don't they? These female mystics. But then the second that the Pope comes back to Rome, he fucking dies. And then apparently, then that's what like started the Great Schism or something. That's where I get really confused because I don't really understand what this thing is. Yeah. But basically, he comes back to Rome.
That's more the speed of the podcast.
He comes back to Rome, and then it's like, you know, it was kind of a fuck up. But then she goes on an even bigger fast for a month, doesn't drink any water. She dies at 33.
She dies from not drinking any water for a month.
Yeah.
That's absolutely classic woman stuff.
Yeah.
They're never drinking enough water. That's why they have to have those big sippy cups.
The Stanleys.
Fucking idiots.
But people were very impressed with her because she was like,
they won't keep themselves alive if you don't point them towards a sink where the water is. Honestly,
she really embraced the weakness. Medieval society viewed women as weak, right? Inherently weak and wet and stupid.
Girl boss was not a term they'd understand.
No.
But ultimately, what these women kind of showed was that in embracing that weakness and making that your defining feature, and the wetness
and the fatness,
that's how you could actually become kind of quite strong in a way. It's almost like being a victim. It's like being a victim. You know, victim status, you know, is actually more impressive if you can fucking really, really claim that. And they equated themselves with Jesus, who was a victim too. And that's what I find really interesting about these female mystics, you know? It's just like, they really believed in their own inner voices. Like, God, I mean, if I was them back then.
Or they were control. I mean, yeah.
Or they were just mental.
When you're hearing a voice back then, they didn't realise that was just your thoughts.
Yeah.
In the same way that Charlie hears us through headphones and thinks he's thinking it. Because he's an absolute tart. So Charlie's got a very medieval brain.
He does.
He's a marvel in many ways. In many ways, he's a medical marvel.
Yeah, he's a visionary. He should be canonised.
Yeah, he should be canonised.
Saint Charlie.
I feel like a lot of these women were sort of like the prototypes of sort of, you know, writers and philosophers in their own way. And it kind of, Julian of Norwich, who was this anchoress, kind of, when you were an anchorite or an anchoress and you got locked into this stone enclosure. So you would be, it's something, you're so religious, you're so obsessed with God that you actually you get death rites read out to you. You basically become dead, and they lock you into an enclosure that's attached to a church.
You get walled into the church.
You get walled into the church.
You get embedded into
so
the
that
wall.
you can just
like
spend.
the Mafia used to do in.
Yeah, you get literally like that Thomas the Tank Engine episode where they wall them up.
Yeah.
So there's this small little side thing, and you have a little thing called a squint so that the only thing you could see is the church.
Into the church.
So
and you have a room.
It's like a brick burqa.
Yeah,
it's a brick burqa,
and you're there for years.
It's like the highest thing that you could. No.
Sorry, it's confusing.
They viewed you as dead because, like, essentially you'd be dead to the world. You're never allowed to come out of the. And you like
type in last Anchorite. Type in last Anchorite. So this woman, the last Anchorite, died in 1999, I think.
What?
Yeah, so it's a recent one. She went in 1945. American
Imagine how much of a Bible basher you have to be to do that.
in Rome in 1945, and weird time to go to Rome as well at the end of the war. She became an anchorite. She was there for 45
going
years. But you can you could go visit her. She was like
Well, that was it. You would have
there
three.
she is. Look at that. No wonder she's walling herself in.
No, you'd have 3 windows.
Looks like the woman who threw a cat in the bin.
You'd have these thin windows, so they'd read out the death rights to you. You'd have to have enough money that's going to be able to sustain you to pay for your maiden food over the years. So it really, to be honest, only very middle class.
Sorry, are you sitting down at all?
No, you've got
you've
a
got a room.
tiny little cell with a bed in it.
Forever.
And it's
Okay.
about, it gives you that time to literally just focus on contemplating how much you love.
Just jack it.
And just constantly
Just
finger
jacking it.
yourself to God.
Look at her. She's finger blasted.
She just got to stop people bothering her.
She's found the God button. She's like, yeah.
So yeah,
It's the
She's
cheat code.
spamming the God
you'd have
button.
these 3 windows, one into
She's
the church.
reneging herself in herself.
One window into the church, one
squint,
window that you'd have food passed to
Reneging
you,
herself.
and one window that people passing by could actually come to you and ask for advice. Because to be honest, actually, if you were an anchorite or an anchoress, that was viewed as one of the highest religious
Do you reckon people would get
authorities
confused
that
with
you
post boxes?
What do you think people would put litter in there or
And she'd be
something?
like, no, oh fuck.
I mean, it's so funny you can just ask them for advice.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
good.
Marjorie
Or you can
can.
shout abuse at them.
So I guess it's how it's
Loser.
Slut.
I know what you're doing in there. Whore.
Marjorie Kemp was one of the women that I wanted to talk about in the episode today, but maybe we'll talk about it
We'll
in
talk
the,
about it on the
we'll do
Patreon.
more-
So we're going to carry on talking about medieval women on the Patreon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what the conclusion is, if you want to make history as a woman, you've got to be extraordinarily annoying.
Until about 200 years ago, the only way that you would be able to do anything aside.
I'd say a couple of months.
30.
Women are still annoying. So that's not, and they have all the rights now.
Yeah,
They have
so
all
maybe
the
it
rights now.
wasn't linked to rights.
I think it's actually a coincidence. But yeah, I mean, women were doing some crazy stuff to get attention, I guess, because they were so marginalised.
Mm-hmm.
Non-annoying women don't make history.
Yes,
Yeah.
Is
there
what
you
it
go.
is.
Exactly.
Thank you
That's
so
why you
much
should come
for
and see my Edinburgh show.
Yes, your Edinburgh show.
When is
Tell
your
us, please, about the
tell
Edinburgh
us.
show.
I'm doing a one-woman show called Christ Bride at the Jack Dome at 5:40 p.m. All Edinburgh Fringe.
I think you should. I think it's a comedy show,
It's a comedy show.
and I think one woman show will
It gives
put
it-
our audience off.
Okay,
I mean,
fine.
it's linked
And
to-
I saw your last show, which
It's a
was
comedy
called a
show.
one-woman show, but it's not. It's stand-up.
Okay,
And
it's not
got,
stand-up.
It's got more
It is
jokes in
stand-up.
it than a lot of stand-up.
Yeah.
That's-
And
I
your
appreciate
accent
that.
work is terrific.
Thank
It's
you.
a comedy show. It's
It's
not
a
like
comedy
a
show.
I
I
do
think-
way more accents in this one as well.
Yeah.
Really
It's all
loads.
jokes through, and it's listed as comedy.
It's listed
not
as comedy
theatre.
this year, so it was theatre last year, and I
It
had
is-
So
only
it's
70-year-olds in the audience.
It's funnier than a lot of stand-up
Yeah.
shows.
That's sweet.
It's at the
Thank
Jack
you.
Off Dome. Don't get ideas.
It's the venue is literally that fucking anchorite wall where a woman's just in there bashing herself.
So
silly.
please do check out if you're at the Fringe.
Yeah.
You'll probably go on tour with it afterwards. I've seen all the previews of it. It's great. It's gonna be brilliant.
Thanks, Bebe. If you want to stick around, we're going to talk about more medieval women. and
Historic
the-
woman, first woman on the Film vs History podcast.
Yeah, exactly. The first ever woman. If you want to hear more medieval women chat, join the Patreon. Thanks so much for stopping by, and we will see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.